Hey everybody, how's it going this week? You know, sometimes with some of the more popular content on furry YouTube, it can sometimes be very hard for people to understand what it is that people see in the furry fandom. What good is there in the furry fandom? And in that sort of lining of questioning, it sometimes can really seem hard to answer in some cases, especially when sometimes we get flooded with bad news in our lives. The reality is that the furry fandom is no different than anybody else, than no other group of human beings out there in a sense, in that we have our hard times, we have our good times, we have people who are in it for the right reasons, we have people who are in it for the wrong reasons, and trying to find our way during those times can be very difficult. And having a community that will stick by you, if you stick by it, is always a good thing, is always something that people search for in their lives. So, that being said, I would like to present to you a story this week, kind of regarding about what a good community is, and what it means to be part of a community and doing the right thing. There are two stories out of Southern California this week that I could cover. There's one really bad one and there's one really good one. And today I decided that in the light of things, the really good one would probably be more important to share this week, is more imminent. Because a lot of times when choosing the kind of stories that gets people intrigued, but might not necessarily, pass on anything good to people, versus a feel-good story that also at the same time warrants a sort of understanding of trying to help one another. Sometimes those stories, those later stories, fall by the wayside in press, and I believe that that's not really the way it should be. These stories are the ones that are really supposed to be something that should be shared more often than they are. So this week we're going to be talking about an individual in this furry fandom of ours who has done a very good thing this weekend and raised a lot of good money for a good cause. That person's persona name is Dogbomb. So this picture here shows Dogbomb. Dogbomb became pretty famous in the furry fandom around 2010. If people know him for anything, it is this photo that it can be found on his FA page. I'll link in the description below, where he talks about his time fursuiting at the beach one day, and running into this lady named Sarah, who is in the wheelchair pictured here. He describes his time spending time with her, and her story about having cerebral palsy, a sort of neurological sort of disease which affects the nervous system at the brain level, and sort of makes it so that it's hard to control motor functions and motor skills because of that particular disease. He shares her story, and it touched a lot of hearts in the furry fandom. So much so that he got a banner on Fur Affinity back in 2010. Unfortunately, I can't share that particular image because it is lost in the annals of the internet. The artist who originally made the banner, I think it seems like they did a clean house, left the fandom sort of a thing. So unfortunately, I can't find any picture of the banner. If any of you can, please comment in the description below. It showed how that fursuiter made her day, and how it described how a person with cerebral palsy lived their life, that Sarah was there with her mother, and her mother was very appreciative. It described how Sarah would sometimes ask her mother to leave her be and take some distance in order to find some time to be independent, to not feel like they're dependent on others. And she and her mother, work on writing a journal, and of course, if that's the case, that they wrote a journal of her life, that Dogbomb's impression on her on the beach that day will be written down in that journal of hers. And it seems like this has sort of gone full circle because Tony, which is his actual name, his persona name is Dogbomb, was unfortunately diagnosed himself with a nervous system centric disease known as ALS. ALS, which stands for words that I can never hope to pronounce in my life, so I will not do it. But if you don't know what ALS is, you might know it from particular instances of certain fundraising awareness memes on the internet, such as the Ice Bucket Challenge, or one of the more famous cases of this disease being that of Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking was diagnosed at an age of about 21, pretty early for an ALS sufferer, and a pretty early diagnosis, and lived with it for his adult life. And it was a longer than average adult life for somebody with ALS. He died recently this year at the age of 76, which is about 55 years with it. That's quite a long time, particularly since, according to the ALS website, only about 5% of ALS sufferers live 20 years after they're diagnosed. The average diagnosis, the average prognosis for somebody who has ALS is approximately 3 years. So basically, Dogbomb knows that they don't have much time left on this world. But he, like what he did and stuck his neck out for Sarah, and was able to bring light and spend time with her, he is not going down without a fight. He's using this time he has left to bring attention to this particularly nefarious disease. So this Saturday, November 10th, at the Orange County Great Park, I believe it was, they had a march of about a mile, and him and a bunch of furries and a bunch of fursuiters got together and took a mile walk at the park in Irvine, and to raise awareness and to raise money for this particular charity. The turnout was pretty healthy, and on top of that, he was able to raise a total and meet his goal of over $34,000. So very good on all of those who were able to raise this money. Tony himself seemed to, when looking at the donation spread at the page, which is going to be in the description below, and you can also donate to the ALS Foundation through the description below. You can still donate to this Team Tony. It looked like Tony, before the walk, was donating, matching donations dollar for dollar. So obviously his was the most money received, which was $17K. But everyone else who also donated can be found on the page there, who decided not to remain anonymous. And you too can also raise awareness for this, because it really does show that, at the end of the day, showing kindness to people in an unkind world, can give you kindness in return. And it's always great to see other furries sticking up for furries who have done good things for others and have been there for others in this very harsh life of ours. And I hope that in essence that through our actions that we retain ourselves, as a community that a lot of people would want to be a part of because of the good we do for others, not just because we call ourselves furries that we're anything special, but because of the actions that we take that drive positive change for others in their lives and make people's days a little brighter, in spite of how the world despite the hand that the world had decided to give them. So that's all I'm going to cover for this video. Not much to not too much to go over. It was a very great time and a great event. Glad that those people showed up and did their due diligence and walked with Tony in this manner. And I hope to hear furries doing good things, and I hope to share those with you here more frequently for sure. So thank you very much for watching. Kick that like, kick the subscribe button, or kick a comment in the comment section. Let me know if you know of anyone else who suffers from ALS inside the fandom or not, and share your stories if you would. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to get the hop out of here, and I will see you next time.